What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today is Halloween, one of my favorite holidays. To celebrate the occasion, I figured I'd tell you the story of, well, something I've probably never brought up. As a kid, I had a haunted game console. Yes, I'm serious. It's something that really freaked me out, but wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. So growing up, I was very poor. Basically, the only way I could get stuff is if it was really cheap, or if I was going to get a full-priced game, I'd only get one or two every year. So what I did was, I would get really torn up game magazines from my friends. I'd read every single article I could to figure out what was the best stuff, what was the bad stuff, what to avoid, and what to grab. A lot of times I'd read about a game that was really cool, like Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. That was a game I was obsessed with as a kid. And what I did is, I read about it years ago, and then I waited for it to get cheap enough that I could talk my parents into getting it. So there was a time when I found a great deal on a Virtual Boy. Now remember, that thing came out and failed really badly. It was hurting people's eyes and they just got rid of it super quick. Well, Best Buy was trying to clear out all the last of their stock, and I managed to find a strange package deal on their clearance rack. It was just a lone console, every other one was gone. This included the system, the special power cord so I didn't have to have batteries, and almost every game with it for $120. A steal. Now, of course, talking my parents into something like that wasn't too difficult because even they could see that this was a pretty good bargain. So taking it home, I was playing it like crazy. I had Panic Bomber, Wario Land, and just everything for it. So I started working my way through every single one, just trying to figure out everything I could, get every unlockable, just really soaking it up, and probably damaging my eyes forever because of it. Well, the longer I played it, the more I began to notice these little strange glitches, peculiar things that didn't seem to be working as intended. Certain levels, well, they wouldn't look the way they would on strategy guides. I'd go into parts of Wario that didn't seem to exist. I would get collectibles and unlockables that weren't ever seen before. Now, this seemed odd, but I also thought that it could just be that, honestly, I had really bad strategy guides. Since so much of my stuff was secondhand, I just kind of assumed at the time that maybe it was missing pages, or maybe I was just buying the really crappy stuff that nobody even double-checked. Maybe they printed it, but didn't realize that they left out information. So I was willing to deal with that. But then one night, I had a very peculiar kind of thing happen. I was playing Panic Bomber by myself. My parents would disappear sometimes for days at a time. I won't get into that. And while I was playing this, I was about to lose on one level. Now, if you've never played Panic Bomber, it's basically a block-breaking puzzle game, and you're on one side, they're on the other side, and whoever manages to last longer wins. If you don't solve enough pieces, then it rises up to the top, you get crushed, and you lose. Well, there was a time when I was about to lose, it's getting really close to the top, and it was one of the 4th or 5th stages, and I was just screwed. I wasn't getting the items I needed, and, well, there wasn't much I can do. Suddenly, a little character walked onto the screen, like something I'd never seen before in all my hours of playing. A little guy walked across the bottom of the screen, deleted some blocks on my side, and put them on my enemy's side. This made him immediately lose. The rival I was going against just lost. And then the little character that walked on winked at the screen, and I went on to the next level. Just something real easy peasy. This was very bewildering to me because at this point I had already played hundreds of matches. I really liked Panic Bomber. So I decided to get the instruction booklet, which I kept because I'm such a collector, and I read every single page, back to back, about 10 times, because I assumed at the time that this must be some sort of special bonus or something I had done, some sort of special unlockable, something that actually was in the game. But even after all that research, I couldn't determine what would make me instantly win a round like that, and who this character was. He didn't look like any of the other art style. Panic Bomber has a very a very certain art style to it, where you look like Bomberman and the creatures are like little cutesy animatronic guys. This thing looked more realistic. Then this started happening more and more. I'd be playing Telero Boxer, a really bad boxing game, and as I was playing it, there would be occurrences where, as I was about to lose a fight, again, something would intervene. A glitch, some sort of error, and suddenly I'd get full life and they'd be dead. One time, there was even a time where I was fighting one of the last bosses, which is a giant like guy with a drill head, and as I was fighting him, all of a sudden, he lost his hat. He was unable to do his primary attack, where his head turns into a drill and he hits you over and over and over again. It was just missing. He lost his primary mode of taking away my health, and therefore it made it an extremely easy win. Now, this was an ongoing occurrence. It just kept happening with more and more frequency, and it started to weird me out. It made me think that something was wrong with my system, or maybe wrong with me. I've played so many games, and I played a lot of stuff really late at night, so I started to think that maybe I was having bad dreams, or maybe I just read one too many Goosebumps late at night. So I took a break, I put my Virtual Boy down for a while, and just kind of played some other stuff. Obviously, I was a big Game Boy kid, so I just spent more time with Link's Awakening. Well, when I finally came back to it, the symptoms, I guess I'll call it, were a lot worse. Every round had some sort of issue. Something would not work the way the game was supposed to. And eventually, I started to get spooked. I'd see that little figure in the back of more games, and I started to worry that maybe something was going on with the system. Maybe there was a spirit or something in the console. Now, I'm not a person who believes in ghosts. To this day, I know that this must have been some sort of error, some sort of something besides like a dead human inside my freaking game console, but I didn't know what to do. At the time, I was 12 years old, maybe 11, and I was getting more and more freaked out. Who was this guy? Was it a person? Was it the system itself trying to, I don't know, break the game on my behalf? Eventually, I really didn't know what to do. I got pretty dang terrified, and I did a pretty dumb thing. I ended up getting my Virtual Boy. I put it and all of its games in a giant box. I got this giant white, like super deluxe wooden case. It was like a suitcase for Christmas as a little kid. It had my name on it and everything. Well, I was so afraid, I ended up just putting it in there, putting it in the top of my closet, and just basically hoping that the situation would go away. Well, the first night that I put it up there, I had a really creepy nightmare that somebody walked into my room and was trying to take the case down. And it looked like somebody was like climbing a ladder into the top of my closet, which was really tiny because we were poor. It was a little teeny tiny closet. But for some reason, this giant guy was trying to get that down, and it freaked me out. So what I did is I sat there all night just waiting for the dawn. The moment the sun came up, I got that box, I went downstairs, and I went into the garage, and I got a shovel from my father's shed, and I went and buried it in the backyard. I know that sounds ridiculous, and I'm sure you're going to laugh at me, but I legitimately was so afraid of my Virtual Boy, I dug a hole as deep as I could in one sitting and threw it to the bottom, covered it up, never told anybody. To this day, I'm actually pretty sure it exists, and I'm just too afraid to go there. I'm just so terrified that whatever the heck was going on with that system, it's better that it's far away from me. It's funny to think that as kids we have these little encounters that seem normal as we're going through it. I never told my parents, I never told my friends, because it just seemed like a problem I could solve. If there's a ghost in the machine, I'll take care of it. If it can be stopped, I'm the one who's gonna stop it. So I dug that hole, I threw it in, and I never looked back. About a year later we moved, and I was glad for it. I never had to look out my window at that little piece of grass and know that it was down there. So that's it. That's my dumb gaming ghost story, and yeah, it's real. That really happened to me, and I really buried a Virtual Boy because I thought that spooky ghosts were coming to get me. How about you? Have you ever had a seriously spooky event involving the supernatural, ghosts, or something like that, and your favorite game? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Man, I'm seriously getting the chills just talking about this. It's probably been... yeah, it's probably been almost 20 years. I hope that thing rotted. Honestly, I don't even like the idea of it existing. I kind of hope somebody maybe dug it up and smashed it. It should be rotting in a landfill. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.